Hi, and welcome to another episode of Despite, our series where we interview brave individuals who are sharing their experience so that we can all learn from it. So let's get into the episode.
Welcome back, guys, to another interview. We have Courtney today. And the way that I know Courtney is that I was started going to a very, very popular day spa in the Hyde Park area here in Chicago. And we got introduced there and became friends, and that was like a million years ago.
hmm
Probably Probably at least
Like
15.
20,
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe
15, 20.
20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been knowing each other for a long time. As I was transitioning into the JWs, I believe Courtney's gonna reveal that she was slowly transitioning out. So welcome Courtney to Same Old T. And to get started, can you just tell me like what's your beginning story when it comes to the JWs?
Well, thank you so much for having me on your channel. Like you said, my name is Courtney, born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I was not born in, but it's pretty much like the majority of what I know. So my mother became a witness when probably I was about 3 or 4. And so I was raised in it. Um, I remember all of the old school Chicago witnesses, the Assembly Hall on 79th and Ashland. We went there, so I'm pretty old school. Um, and so my mother was baptized when I think I was about 5. She was baptized there. Um, I was baptized. I pioneered. I went to pioneer school. I was on the circuit assembly. I was an exemplary youth. So I have been there, done that. I have done all the things. So.
Okay. So you were like 3, 4 years old when your mom started going to the hall or what have you. Do you have any memory of celebrating holidays since you were so, kind of young, when she started going to the Kingdom Hall?
It's a memory, and it's kind of a sad memory. I remember when Christmas was taken away from me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so when my mother was studying, we lived with my grandmother, and that's the house that I live in now. We lived with my grandmother, and Christmas was a big deal around here. So when Christmas came, I would help her put the tree up. I would put my ornaments on, and I remember this specific year, my mother would not allow me to go into the living room where my grandmother was putting up the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother kept saying, let her, put the ornaments on the tree. What are you doing? And it was such a big deal. I remember crying. I didn't understand why. Christmas to this day is one of my favorite holidays. But yeah, that was when Christmas was taken away from me. I could not touch the tree. Um, yeah. I was probably about 3 or 4. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's traumatic, right? That's,
Yeah.
childhood trauma because the memory of when it was taken away is very,
Mm-hmm.
very vivid. I mean, you were young, right? But still, that's probably like your first memory. You know what I mean? When you think
Yes.
about Christmas, is when it
Mm-hmm.
was taken away
Yep.
and everything. So, if you know your mom's story, like how did she get introduced to the witnesses?
So but this is what I believe. I believe that with witnesses, you are either born in, you have no choice, or they come in when there's some sort of trauma.
Mhm.
Okay. So in my mother's case, my grandfather had passed away. So I was about 1 when he passed away, and there was a family friend that was a witness. She's still a witness to this day that started coming around. And so they preach about your loved ones being resurrected. So my mother held on to that.
Mhm.
Okay. And that was what hooked her in. So she is a big believer in the resurrection. She still wants to see her parents, again. So that was what hooked her, and it was that trauma that sucked her in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's so true what you said. I do feel like for the most part, those are the two groups, right? You have people who were born in, and then you have people that a witness co-worker, or if they came to the door or
Yep.
whatever it is, where they caught you at a low moment, right?
Yep.
Whether it's death of a loved one, or maybe losing your job, or failing
Mm-hmm.
health, right? Or
Yep.
being a victim of a crime,
Yep.
and then they love bomb you and pull you in,
Yes.
and then the brainwashing begins. So being what age did you get baptized?
I was 9.
Wow.
I
Now
was 9.
that's young.
Mm-hmm.
That's young.
Yep.
So what made you get baptized at 9?
So there is a lot of pressure. They will tell you it's not pressure, but there is pressure. So we had a circuit overseer back in the day. Again, my old school Chicago people will know this guy, Brother McGee. And he was big on pioneering, and for young people it was getting baptized. And if you had children in your home that were not baptized, there was something wrong. And also remember, if you were baptized, you had favor. People looked at you with favor. Um, and in that religion, it causes you to perform, to get acknowledgement, to want to feel included. Um, so if you were not baptized by a certain age, you were looked at as, okay, what's wrong with her? Also, might I add another layer to it? I was a child from a single parent household. So I was already looked at as someone who was lesser than, because I didn't have a father that was present in the home,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my mother also had pressure to have a exemplary daughter. So I felt the pressure coming from coming from everyone. So yeah, Brother Miggy came around. I felt that pressure to get baptized. However, to my mother's credit, she did ask me, was I sure? She was like, you're so young. I said, no, mommy, I want to do it. I want to do it. And all my friends at the time were doing it. And so I felt like I had to do it.
Yeah, that's wild that you say that circuit overseer basically was, putting it out there that so basically if you have a 9 or 10 year old in your house
Hmm.
that's not trying to get baptized,
Yeah.
well, what's wrong? That
Yeah. They
is
had to have the
crazy.
desire to be baptized.
That
Like,
is
hmm.
crazy. That
Hmm.
is absolutely crazy.
Hmm.
OMG. And
Hmm.
then, like you said, the added layer that your mom was a single mom, so now she
Hmm.
has to, you know, she has to make that mark, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
not enough that she was an adult convert and she has this daughter who, clearly, if you got baptized at 9, you were already commenting and doing all the
Hmm.
things. That wasn't enough,
Hmm.
and anybody who's ever been remotely close to a witness or the Kingdom Hall know that your best is never going to be good enough.
Never.
Never.
Ever, ever.
So at 9, you had to be what? What is that, like third, fourth grade?
Fourth grade. Hmm.
Okay. So you get baptized, all your other young ones in your congregation, probably same age as
Yep.
you, getting baptized. So was it a point as a preteen, teenager where it started getting difficult?
It didn't start getting difficult for me, I want to say, until maybe I turned like 13.
Mhm.
And that was because, your hormones are raging. Um, and, I got contacts, I was feeling myself, I was getting noticed by boys that I liked. And it just I wouldn't say being like the doctrine was difficult. It was just, okay, I'm not supposed to like boys. I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
so absolutely. That's the pressure, right? That's the
mhm.
pressure. So here you are, 13 years old, probably filled with anxiety, filled with guilt because, oh Lord, I think Johnny Boy is cute,
Yes.
and I think he kind of winked at me and I liked it, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so now you feeling terrible. Lord forbid you get to the meeting and they have, a part that kind of address that. So now you feel like, oh, Jehovah sees me. He knows everything
I
I'm
have to
doing.
deaden my body members.
It's just like it's so crazy. And when
Yeah.
you think about it, like, we could laugh about it now, but it's sad. It's hard enough being a teenager, period.
Mhm.
But to put the pressure that the witnesses put on young people, this like purity culture, the evangelical, like Christian movement, it's just really
Yeah.
like I get it. Nobody wants their kids to be out here, being teenage parents. Like we get it. But at the same
Mhm.
time, don't like beat them over the head with it,
Right.
you know?
So I recall telling my mother that I thought a brother was cute, and she kind of hit me in the head, and she said, "You're not supposed to be thinking that way." I said, "Okay." So it's kind of like I knew in that moment that is something I can never talk to her about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, how, when I am of age and I can date, how do I talk to you about that? How do we navigate that? How do I date?
Mm-hmm.
How do, like, we don't know. You know what I mean? So I have a daughter now. She's only 9, but I know that when she does tell me a boy is cute or whatever, I will never react that way because I want to leave that communication open, and I can talk to her about how to date in a healthy way, and it's okay to date. It's okay to like boys or whoever you choose to date. I
Right.
don't have a problem with that. So the whole, well, that's a whole nother YouTube video, the dating and purity culture of Jehovah's Witnesses. I could go on and on and on about that. But yeah, it's a thing. Getting your hormones and trying to be a Jehovah's Witness is not a good thing.
Right. Right. They want you to basically just even into adulthood, just constantly fight against, you know, what is occurring naturally, right?
Yes.
Which
Mm-hmm.
is really, really weird. Okay, you're in middle school, you go to high school. When did you start pioneering?
I pioneered. Okay, so this is what happened. My mother went to pioneer school when I was 11, and her pioneer school was lit. Like, she had all the like teenagers, early 20s. They had such a good time. They were super cool. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to go. I just looked at it for fun. I was like, I want to have fun with them. So I started pioneering like the next year. Cause again, everybody has to pioneer. Everybody that, you had to do it. So I didn't, I'm young. I didn't realize, oh, I have to actually do it. So at the time, regular pioneering was 90 hours a month. Okay. I already hated going out field service. Okay. Who can relate? I can relate. And where's the camera? Okay. Hated it. Okay. So I recall, I think you had to go like almost a full year before you could go to pioneer school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, so I end up still signing on, although I never made my time. And I remember the elders actually came to my house, yes, to meet with me.
So you like 12?
Yes, yes. But shout out to my mama. I give her credit where credit is due. She kind of shut it down. Like, what are you? You're gonna come to meet with her because she didn't make her time? Like, she's a kid. So shout out to my mama. Um, but anyway, I did go to pioneer school. It was boring. It was so bad. I remember I was the youngest one in there. Um, I that was the first time I realized oh, we go out in field service. There's like steps to this. Like we're going on field service to actually come back, and we want to get a Bible study. And I was like, oh, this is like real. It was not what I the fun. It was not the fun that I wanted it to be
Mm-hmm.
from what I saw with my mother's Pioneer School the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe, and also the friends that I started pioneering with, they had all felt dropped off because everybody was like, oh, I'm not making my time. I don't, I'm not going. So I was the only one that went because I'm like, I wanted to go to have fun, but it wasn't for fun.
Right. Yeah. When they told me about Pioneer School and how excited these people would be, and then when I found out that you basically like studying watchtowers and all this stuff
All
all
day.
day and all night, then you got to go home and do homework to
Yes.
I was like, it's nothing about that sounds appealing.
It
And they
was
would be like, oh,
the
this is
worst.
this is my second Pioneer School. I'm like, this is crazy.
And it was my summer break. Like I'm in what, seventh, eighth grade. It's my summer break, and I'm in Pioneer School. Like it was the worst. It was the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Okay, so 12 years old, you pioneering. Did anything significant happen from like basically middle school into high school, or was it kind of just the same, JW routine?
It was the same JW routine. I I think I was a pretty good kid. I think
Hmm.
I did okay. I mean, the only thing that I was boy crazy. That's the only thing that I can recall about myself is that I was boy crazy.
Hmm.
Um, so that didn't. I think the summer between eighth grade and high school, it was like whoa. So that was when, and again, it had nothing to do with anything about doctrine. It was everything was me.
Yeah.
It was I would just hear talks about dating and sex and even homosexuality and all this stuff. And my thinking was always, if I am having these thoughts and God created me, why am I bad? Like
Mm.
why am I bad because I like boys? Why is it bad? Like why is it bad?
Mm. Yeah, but you couldn't say that to nobody.
No, no, no.
But you were thinking to yourself, like, why is this so bad?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
isn't this the way we were designed according to what this Bible is saying? That
Yeah.
should be attracted to guys,
Yep.
boys, young
Mhm.
boys, and they should be attracted to me.
Mhm.
But I'm constantly hearing that this is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything was wrong. Um, there were even a couple guys at my congregation that were obviously gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I would say to my mom, they're gay. You can't be gay in Jehovah's organization. They are. Like they are. And one of them actually was yeah, is gay. Like confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Um Again, not that there's anything wrong with that. But it was just like my thing is be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
If God created you this way, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
And that's how I feel to this day. Like if you are who you are and you love who you love, like there's nothing wrong with you. That's who
Yeah.
you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would call them NPGs, non-practicing gays.
yeah, which is sad. It's so sad. Like, okay, yeah, you can be gay, but you can't practice it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not fair. That's
Yeah.
not fair.
Yeah.
And you have to wait until the new system and pray to,
Pray the gay
no.
away.
Right, no. Just be you.
Yeah. Okay. So now you're in high school. Did anything significant in high school happen, or it sounded like you had questions all along, but with that incident with your mom, you learned that I can't express them.
Right. So in high school, um, I pretty much was still going to the meetings. But I guess could say I had a double life. We were shunned from, you couldn't have friends that were not witnesses. I always have friends. that were not witnesses. Um, my best friend to this day, I tell her she literally saved my life in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So in high school, I mean, I dated a few people. I was not a virgin once I entered high school. Um, my senior year, I got pregnant. So it was a situation where um, I think I had taken a pregnancy test and it came back positive, and I didn't know what to do. So I told my stepmother, who then told my father, who then took me home to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have, I don't think I had a cell phone at this time. I'm not sure. But I remember calling one of my really good friends, shout out to her. When she sees this, she's going to know exactly. Because I called her and I said, girl, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but I just want to say, it's been real because I just knew it was about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So my father, because I was spending the night with him, and he made me tell my mother. And, I told her. And so, of course, she was upset. And she just asked me, how many times. And I just lied and I told her it was my first time. It was not my first time. But anyway, she got right on the phone and called Brother Davis. And I had to have a judicial committee.
Mm-hmm.
I was 17 years old, sitting in a judicial committee with three grown men
Mm-hmm.
and my mother, because I was 17.
Well, I'm surprised that they let that happen.
Yeah. So when I tell a brother, like, your mother was there? Yes, my mother was there because I was 17 years old. And, the questions that they ask, how many times would you see him again? Now, I will back up a little bit and tell you that I was told that if I tell the truth, I will be okay. Because my fear, everybody's worst fear is what? We don't want to be disfellowshipped, right? That's the worst thing you could be. So I said, okay, I'm going to tell the truth. I told the truth. They asked me, would I see him again? I said, I don't know. Because I didn't know.
Right.
So I think because of that, um, I was disfellowshipped. I don't know. So because of my disfellowshipping, it affected me. I was upset about it, but the one who was really upset was my mom because she was now embarrassed. Um, it just, I guess, as a parent, you're looked at differently because now it's like you don't have control of your household, and what are you doing and all this stuff. And of course, the rumor mill starts. Especially when they read your name off. What did she do? We mostly assume, right? Um, but yeah, so that was like really rough. So that was like maybe January, February of 1999. Um, and so I remember having to, so my locker partner was a Jehovah Witness. Shout out to my girl. She never stopped talking to me. Um, Never, changed her locker. Who's also an ex Jehovah Witness at this right now. Um, but anyway, I remember having to go to our senior luncheon, and we took pictures, and we were standing there awkwardly because our, like, my mom and her mom, they know each other, so we all wanted to take a photo, but I can't talk to anybody
Mm-hmm.
because I'm disfellowship. Like, what? This is my
Mm-hmm.
senior luncheon,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have to follow these man-made rules.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, and then I went off to college, and had to stay here, or else I couldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's like, what would my life have been had I been able to, go off to college? So I'm in school and I'm working, at the same time. And I also moved because at that point I had to, because it was very contemptuous here. Because I didn't want to go to the meetings anymore. I didn't want to subject myself to just sitting there and having people look at me and not be able to talk to me for what?
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, oh, if you don't want to do that, then you got to get up out of here. And so that's what I did. So
Wow. So were you that young working at Betty O?
I didn't start working there until I was like 20,
Okay.
21.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So yeah, so I was in school. So I had an apartment. I was working, but it was I would do little things like I did the US Census. I think I worked at
Mhm.
Marshall Fields for a little bit. Like, I did a little bit, and then I started to go to massage therapy school. And that's when I got the job at Betty O. So I
Okay.
want to say I was like 2021.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So did you end up losing the baby or
So I terminated the pregnancy.
okay.
Mm-hmm. So I just felt like I was too young, which I was, and my father was just like, "No,
So this
we're
is
not
this
doing
is
this."
at this point you had left the house though, right?
No, this was before that. The pregnancy was terminated before I left the house. So
Okay.
so this was still in 1999. As soon as I found out I was pregnant,
Okay.
the pregnancy was terminated because my father was just like, "No, we're not doing this."
Okay.
So, which I'm grateful to live in the state of Illinois where we do have that choice.
Hmm.
Um, because I don't know what I would have done. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
17 is young.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so you move out.
Yep.
So now you're like early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when we, got introduced. And I think you were probably like a little bit, maybe a toe in kind of because I remember you going, I remember us talking, and you were like, yeah, I'm not really going. I might just
Yeah.
go to the memorial. And I think you had gotten married.
Okay. So yeah, I was getting married to someone who wasn't a witness. And
And I think he had braids or
he
locks.
had locks. He had locks.
And I was like, oh yeah, Courtney, like she mo out the end.
So I had gotten reinstated for my mother.
Hmm.
But that was literally it, just to get reinstated. And I think I went to the meeting a few times and I was like, this is just, it's not for me.
Hmm.
And I ended up meeting um the person I was with at the time. And we had gotten engaged. And I remember going to a meeting and I specifically wore the ring, but I turned it around so that no one could see. But chicks at the hall they be nosy, they be looking
Yep.
for stuff. So I remember I sitting on the far left. These sisters were sitting on the far right. They come after me. They come all the way over to me. They were like, "What's that on your hand?" I was like, "Oh, this nothing." I kind of was like, "Oh, it's just a ring, blah blah blah." So one of the brothers, he's the presiding overseer at the time. He's like, "What's that?" He was cool with me, and so I was like, "Oh, I got engaged or whatever." He's like, "Oh, what's his name?" I was like, "Oh, you don't know him." Like that, because I already knew. I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you don't know him." And so at that point I was like, "Yeah, I can't come to the meetings no more." So come to find out, they gave a marketing talk. I think it was a local needs about me.
Hmm.
And a chick who has as everybody knows, one of these should have been disfellowshipped a million times, but because her father was an elder or got pulled, all she does is get reproved or privately reproved. So she was married like 3 or 4 times, not to witnesses, but anyway, she decides to call me and tell me, "Don't do it, you're making a mistake, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Who is this?" You don't talk to me. I haven't heard from you, but now you want to call me about this? Aren't
Hmm.
you married to some? Like, I will call it out. I will call out the hypocrisy in a second.
Hmm.
So, I don't recall how that conversation ended, but yeah, there was a talk, given, and folks knew it was about me. So, I still, I think, believed to a point, but something changed when the circuit assembly had come around and I didn't want to go. I don't know if we had gotten married at this point, but we were living together. And I remember I didn't want to go. And my mother said she was coming to pick me up. And I said, well, I'm not going. She said if I didn't go with her, she would not talk to me. She would like it was a whole bunch of threats to the point where I was crying. And so I would never forget my ex said to me, he said, if she wants people to come into this religion, she's not doing a good job convincing anyone because you're sitting up here crying because she wants and she's threatening to take her love away from you basically because you don't want to go to the assembly. How is this something that I would want to be a part of? And that really stuck with me. So I remember I ended up going under duress. And we were late. I went. But yeah, that was something I never forgot. And so I think that might have been the last assembly that I went to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So your mom is still diehard, 10 toes down.
10 toes all the way down. All the way.
And so how is the dynamic between you all?
I love my mother. I love her dearly. But I would say I don't know her because she is so deeply indoctrinated. And that makes me sad because I want to know who she is outside of this religion, but everything she does is based on what they say, what the publications say, what the brothers say. Like, I want to know who you are as a woman, right? So it's difficult. I even look at the relationship you have with your mom, and I'm like, dang, like, I don't have that, and it makes me sad because I want to have that type of relationship with my mom to let's go shopping and let's travel and let's do this and let's do that. But unfortunately, I cannot talk to her freely because, I end up being called disrespectful or whatever the case may be just because I have a voice.
Right.
So, we have a relationship. I do foster the relationship that she has with her granddaughter because I miss my grandmother to this day. And I know that that is a very special relationship to have. And I love their relationship. So I foster that. But yeah, that's
Does she
I
try to take your daughter to the hall?
in the very beginning. So when my daughter was a baby, her first babysitter was a witness who I do care for. However, I would pick her up and I would notice the Caleb and Sophia, is that her name? Videos playing. And I just had to set a boundary. And I said, look, there are millions and millions of cartoons and videos you can play for her. She will not be watching those. And I said, my daughter will grow up to be tolerant of other people. She will grow up to love everyone. I was just like, if you actually pay attention to these videos, they teach them how to discriminate against gay people, anyone that doesn't think what they think. And I said, my daughter is not going to be that. She respected that. My mother, on the other hand, I would come home and they're playing, the Kingdom melodies, and kids sing anything, So I would hear her singing. Oh God, it was one like something obey.
Oh, listen, obey, and be blessed.
Yes. And so I had to, I would tell her, do not sing that song, blah, blah, blah. And I had to tell my mother, you know, as her mother, I'm asking you to do not indoctrinate. And I use that word, do not indoctrinate my child. And they don't like that word because they feel like that's not what they're doing. She's like, well, that's exactly what you're doing. Do not do it. And so, her father, of course, was never raised a witness. And I said, I am telling you nicely. Do you want him to say it?
Mm-hmm.
because it's not going to be as nice.
Mm-hmm.
So she respected the boundary. Now, there was a time where I think I was late picking her up, and my mother took her to like the field service meeting or whatever. And I just said, please don't let nobody touch her. I just said, I don't want that energy on her. You
Yeah.
know, please don't let nobody touch her. Other than that, actually, there was another time I had gone out of town and she took her, which I was very upset about. Um, and you know, my daughter, like I said, my daughter loves her grandmother. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, if I pick her up and say, "Oh, you know, grandma has to go to the hall," I want to go with her. I want to go with her. I said, "No, you are not to go. That's not someplace you can go." Kids don't understand.
Yeah.
So her father and I kind of discussed a way to make her understand. So I said, well, if you want to go with your grandmother to the Kingdom Hall, this is what happens. I said, you know, your birthday, there won't be any.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christmas, you like to get gifts and stuff. There won't be any more Christmas. Santa's not gonna come. And she's like, what? I said, yeah. Do you still want to go to the Kingdom Hall? She said, no. That's awful. I said, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and she just thought is I just want to stay with my grandma. I'm like, but it's more to that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So they
Yeah.
don't get that as kids. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Your mama had over there singing "Listen, Obey, and Be
Yes, she
Reconciled."
did.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
she
a
did.
doozy. I did a video about that song. It's a doozy. You know,
Hmm.
it's very catchy, and you could find yourself just singing it along and not paying
Yes,
attention
and
to
not
what
paying
you're
any
saying.
attention. Hmm.
Okay. So you're out, you're living life, you're doing
Hmm.
all the things, right?
Hmm.
What, if any, residue do you feel like you may still deal with?
So I think because I'm so far gone, like I have done so let me back up a little bit. So um I don't know how it happened. I ended up going on the XJW YouTube. So shout out to Ethan, Ruben, Dan Mira, all the old school XJW YouTubers. And they will really break down the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember going through this. It was, I guess, like a grief, like the grief cycle, like this anger. Like I have been believing a lie this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
What? So it was like really upsetting. And then, so fast forward to, I guess, now, the only thing I really deal with is, I don't know. I think I deal with like death. Like, well, what do we do? Like, what happens? But I have come to believe and know that this is just, I guess, what I believe in. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like when we pass on, it's just we're in a different form.
Mm-hmm.
So I have had some experiences in my life where I've kind of seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I don't believe in God per se. I don't definitely don't believe in any man-made religion at this point. Um, I do believe there is something there. I just say it's the universe. But I just believe that we're here. We're just in a different form.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like I just struggle when he fell asleep in death. It's like those trigger words.
Mm-hmm.
They just get me. Um, I used to have struggles like around sex. Um, what I'm doing is wrong. This is wrong. This is bad. Um,
Even as a married person,
yeah, it was weird.
I can
Um,
see that though. I could see that because you hear it so much,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
That even here you are married, but
Mhm.
you still have these things around it, right?
And also, when you find out what you like sexually, because as a witness, you cannot think about it, you can't explore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in it now, and you're like, you can explore a little bit more into what you like.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're like, oh, I can't. That's bad. That's
Mm-hmm.
ooh, that's nasty. So I've just been like, you know what? I was created this way. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not nasty. It's me. It's who I
Mm-hmm.
am. You know what I mean? Ooh, my light died. um,
It's all right. We'll make it work.
okay. Um, you get to see me in two different lights. But yeah, so I think sex was like a really big struggle. Like, now not so much. I'm okay. I I think I still I get anxiety about being a good mom, being am I teaching my daughter the right way? So I think there's like anxiety in all areas of life just because of how I was raised. Um, but like, all you can do is your best.
Mm-hmm.
And I just try to be a good person and I put out good energy and I hope to receive it back. And
Yeah.
one thing I think, what is it, Jesus taught us? Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that guy said. But so yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And what I've noticed is XJWs who were born or came into the organization very, very young like you, a lot of them have basically the same questions that you have. Like, and one of the number one is that whole concept around like death,
Mhm.
because that you didn't have to think about it, right? Like I just got to
Mhm.
be good enough to pass, the test, and
Yeah.
and I'll be okay. I'll live in
Mhm.
paradise or what have you. So then when you have to kind of deal with like, okay, there'll come a point in time where I won't exist in this form, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it could be challenging. And I definitely can, empathize with ones that, yeah, you've been hearing this for, 10, 20, 30 years of your
Mhm.
life, and now you're faced with like, oh, yeah, it's the end is not gonna come in paradise is not gonna,
Mhm.
come the way that I thought. So,
Yep.
and I also see that a lot of born and raised in also, don't prescribe to man-made religions.
Mm-mm.
Like
It turns you off from everything.
yes,
Yeah.
because like you say, with being a witness, it is who you are.
Yep.
It is who you are, head to toe, 24/7.
Yep.
So when you realize and come to the realization, like all this is a lie,
Mhm.
now you have to pull all these layers off and try to figure out who I am. Now,
Yes.
witnesses like you, in my observation, seem to fare a little bit better because, like you say, okay, I guess you could say I had a little bit of a double life in high school because I had friends, I had
Mhm.
relationships, I had these connections with people. I wasn't just, nope, my universe is JW and
Mhm.
it's not JW. I don't want no parts of it. But so that helped, no doubt,
Mhm.
right? You still
Yeah.
very much close with these same people today.
Mhm. But
And where are the JW people? They gone.
it's so funny because, like my friend who, like I mentioned earlier, was my locker partner. Like,
Yeah.
we still remain really close. And I would tell her, I remember because she would still go to the memorial with her mom. And, I was like, girl, you still doing that? And she would just be like, I'm going for my mom. I'm like, okay. But I remember a conversation we had, and she was just like, yeah, this is not for me. And I was like, girl, I've been waiting for you. Um, but I love her because because she was still going full force in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
she never switched up on me,
Mm-hmm.
ever, ever, ever. um
And that's
there
how
was
you
a
know that she was your real friend.
Yeah, for sure,
Because
for sure.
that to me is like the defining mark that
Hmm.
that lets you know who's your real friend. That means
Yep.
they have a real connection because even though they know the rules and what they're supposed to do, they don't necessarily follow through with it. Now they might not be shouting it from the rooftops. I'm
Right.
still hanging out with Courtney. I'm still doing this, but
Right.
you see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
yeah, it's the Kingdom House is filled with a lot of conditional friendships.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could, ugh, that's a whole nother video too. But the boy I was disfellowshipped, like who I was with at that
Hmm.
time, we actually just got back together. It's so funny.
What?
Yeah. So it's like, life has come full circle.
Yeah.
And
Oh Lord.
I mentioned him to my mother, like, oh, just want to let you know this person is back. And she was just like, ugh. Because her mind went back to, when I was
Eh,
17. I said, Mom, we're grown now. Like,
yeah. And she
you know.
probably feels like that was the start of, your going downhill,
But
Jehovah
little
Witness.
little does she know, like,
Right.
it was me hanging out with the elders' daughters. That was the start of it. So it's
Yeah.
like you wanted me to have this good association
Hmm.
with the elders' daughters, and these elders' daughters were the worst.
Well, it's just like they say, preacher kids are the worst. It's the
I
same
mean,
thing.
we can make a YouTube video about that one. I mean, that was the worst. I mean,
Hmm.
I lost my virginity hanging out with the elder's daughter.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
I I had to explain that to her. I said, "You don't even know the half of it, of the
Hmm.
people that go to that congregation, like the things that I know." And that's what's funny. I think a lot of people don't really call me from they. I haven't gotten a phone call, maybe once. Um, he was my ex best friend's brother, who's now an elder, and reached out to me to go to the memorial. And I said, "And why are you calling? What do you want?" Because it's like, don't.
Right.
I've
It's
known you since we were kids. Don't, no,
yeah.
don't do that.
It's like it's just a
Yeah.
mess. Yeah. Was it this year or last year? No, yeah, this year's memorial. I got that call like after years. I'm like, really? Why? Why are you
Girl,
telling
they just
me?
be going through the publisher cards and seeing who they haven't seen in a while. Girl, that's all that is.
Yeah. So then technically you faded because you got reinstated as a
Yep.
teenager, so you just faded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, how's life now? Like found
Life is
out that
amazing. Don't believe what they tell you. When you leave Jehovah, you'll be destitute. And what did they say? You'll be on drugs and you'll do this, you do that. I am a full-time entrepreneur. My daughter is thriving. I have an amazing man in my life. Um, I have an amazing co-parent most of the time. Um, I have an amazing village that is around me and my daughter. Um, like, life is good. Like, life
Mhm,
is really good.
mhm,
And I just tell people, don't believe what they tell you from the podium if you leave Jehovah, because once you leave Jehovah, life literally opens up for you.
mhm,
Like, it literally opens up for you. It may be hard if you don't have a network or you don't know anybody, but literally, like, life is your oyster, and it's been good to me.
mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm. So if people wanted to stay connected, do have a XJW Facebook group.
oh yes, I do commercial. So I am the admin of XJW Chicago. I can probably send you the link so you can put it in the YouTube video. But if you are from
Yep.
Chicago or the Chicagoland area, please join us. Shout out your all congregation. Let me know if you like apple danishes or cheese danishes. If you know, you know. I mean, and it's just so cool to connect with, I guess, the old friends. I hate to use that term friends because it's
Hmm.
so triggering, but just to see faces that you grew up with, you may not have seen in a very, very long time.
Hmm.
It's just super, super cool because a lot of people in our age range, the millennials, they're leaving in
Hmm.
droves because
Hmm.
we ain't nobody got time to be in a cult, baby.
Hmm.
So, um, join the group. Let's network. We probably need to plan like some meetups and stuff because the group is growing. But yeah, definitely love to have you join the group. And yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah, we'll put that information in the description. And I think, Courtney, people are definitely going to want you to come and do our Q&A live after seeing this interview. So
Okay.
hopefully you'll be able to come because I know they're going to have tons of follow-up questions.
Oh my
And
God,
so,
yes.
and so
I'm here for it.
before we leave, what's the one thing you always say to me when I make a comment or something?
I told you not to do it. I told you not to do it. And I did. I
You did.
remember. You was like, I'm getting baptized. I was like, girl, don't
Yeah.
do it.
And I should have
Yes.
listened. But you know what? You, my friend Mandy, who grew up, never got baptized, went away to school, was like, I'm not gonna do this, you know. Um, and my friend Ola, who told me her story. I, found out she was born and raised as a witness, and I always think about you three. And I'm like, they were trying to tell me, like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, you know? So yeah, once I was like, I'm out and people knew it, it was just, it's just so funny now, you know? Um,
But sometimes some people you gotta go through things on your own. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And but hey, you found out.
Oh yeah. Baby, I found out. And it's so funny because just like how you say you turned your ring upside down, like I did
Hmm.
the same thing. And like to
Hmm.
dignify my one friend at the time, I told her, I said, I'm gonna tell you something. I know you're gonna feel a type of way, but I want you to hear from me. Her
Hmm.
husband was what was they calling him then? He was the head
The
elder.
presiding overseer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And honey, you'd have thought I said I was about to start selling tail.
Yeah.
They just was upset. And yeah, it was just so weird. And I remember I had to I went home and pretty much just unfriended all witnesses because they were like, he was like, I shouldn't say they, he was like, please don't include the friends and you're gonna stumble
Hmm.
the friends and all this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
literally up until probably a week before I left to get married, was still calling and harassing me about Jehovah doesn't want you to do this. People who hadn't talked to me in years who had did me dirty. Like you said,
Hmm.
the that one
Yeah. Who don't talk to you?
yeah,
Nothing like
calling me,
yeah. Just in the
calling
business.
me, talking
Yeah.
about, oh, I'm concerned for your soul. Girl, where you been? Because for the last 5
Right.
years, you've been ghost.
Yeah. I haven't heard from you. Exactly.
Now you
Girl.
concerned for my soul.
Hmm.
So yeah, now that I'm out, it's a tricky thing, you could tell people, but like you say, sometimes people gotta experience it for themselves.
Exactly.
But spaces
Exactly.
like this, your Facebook group, especially I feel like in the Black community, seeing people that
Mhm.
look like you that,
Yes.
oh, they didn't become crackheads, oh, they didn't, become
Yeah.
homeless, all the stuff that they
Hmm.
try to paint as what the outcome will be, does a lot. So
Hmm.
yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you for having me.
story. For sharing your story, and I know they're gonna want you to come do Q&A, so we'll see
I'm around. I'm around.
you. We'll see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.